All right, we are back with another pick'em video. It is Sunday, May 17th in the NBA, and we got a Game 7, baby. We're going to talk all about it, give you guys my thoughts on the game in general, any sort of adjustments. We saw a lack of effort, honestly, from one team in Game 6. We'll see if that turns around. But yeah, just give you guys as much information as possible, and then I'll recap this thing at the end, talking about my official video picks and what we're going through. But we'll talk on pretty much every player here. But if that sounds cool, do me a favor, like the video, comment something down below, subscribe if you are new. We've been cruising in the NBA playoffs, and we did have a winning day the last time I saw you guys. So let's go over that real quick before we get into the game today. So yeah, last time I saw you guys, it was Friday night. We ended up having a monster day. We profited 0.07 units. No, essentially it was a 3 in 3 day. We had some great reads. Paul Reed came alive. He absolutely dominated this line. He should continue to play today. We'll see what happens there. Evan Mobley, despite a poor effort from the Cavs overall, Evan Mobley was one of the main scorers. Cade Cunningham points, 26.5, looked great at halftime, 16 points going into the second frame, and he didn't have to do much because they were actually getting contributions from everyone on the Pistons team on the road here. So that was really cool to see from the Pistons. Cavs, I mean, I don't know what they were doing out there. Then we have Anthony Edwards over the points and the rebounds. Unfortunately, this one was a blowout, so it wasn't looking too great for a lot of these plays. He did score decently well, especially in the first half, but didn't get a ton of time down the stretch there, and it looked like the Spurs were in control pretty much from the get-go. Julius Randle sucks. He had 3 points in that thing. Easy money. And then Wembanyama, 13.5 rebounds. Again, the blowout, but at the same time, he wasn't really getting rebounds throughout the entire game. It just looked like one team was better than the other, and going into the second half, that thing, it was kind of apparent what was going to happen. So 3 and 3 day, we'll take the 0.07 units of profit. And just a reminder here, we show our wins and losses. I've tracked every single play I've given out all throughout the year, but here's the playoffs, up 13.2 units in the playoffs. We have been cruising. We've been seeing the board really well. We've been making, the adjustment calls before we actually see them, which is great to see. So yeah, we're dominating. Let's get into the game today. Detroit and Cleveland. This will be in Detroit. They are 4.5-point favorites. And this is going to be a game that comes down to effort. I mean, we saw it in Game 6. We've seen it in a couple of these games. And I think this will come down to who is playing harder. Can Donovan Mitchell play extremely hard that much? Or is he, it seems like he's hurt or tired at some points in these games. It looks like Superman sometimes, for sure. We've seen him many times. But then other games, it looks like he just doesn't have his legs under him or something. But yeah, Detroit side of the ball, I mean, they won that last game because Oscar Thompson came in there and said, hey, I'm going to be the energizer. I can't score a ton of points, but I can grab rebounds. I can block shots. I can get the crowd going. I can, do a step over after a flagrant foul. He came in there and he played extremely well for what he can do. He's not an offensive player. He can do all the intangible stuff, and he did that. He set the tone, and I thought that was huge for them. Cade Cunningham was able to cook on that, and then everyone kind of fed off that energy, and we started seeing, shots go down from Duncan Robinson, which at home, this will be huge. A shot maker at home, Duncan Robinson will be big for this team. Jalen Duren had his best game of the entire playoffs. He looked like he was playing with a lot of happiness and joy out there. So good to see him get going a little bit. But Paul Reed, I mean, he was the guy that was like, hey, probably getting a little bit more time here. He does. Absolute energizer guy as well. Oscar Thompson, Paul Reed, they play off each other. They work off each other. Their energy and their play just looks really, really good. Paul Reed, very, very good scorer. Oscar Thompson, really good at everything else. But they're both energizer dudes, and they're going to need that at home today. So we've seen the projected minutes, and I just want to talk about some of these players. I mean, they got a little bit from everyone last game, and that was on the road. It would be scary if they get that same kind of energy going into their own stadium in a Game 7. Now we get the Cavs. I mean, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, they have a lot to prove in this series, in this game. Donovan Mitchell has been a guy that looks tired, like I mentioned, but he's also looked like Superman. Which one are we going to get today? That is the question mark. James Harden, maybe a little bit more consistent than Donovan Mitchell in this playoffs in general. Mitchell's had the higher highs, but Harden's kind of been most consistent. Now, the turnovers and the lack of effort is crazy from James Harden. He needs to show up today. If he doesn't, we're going to talk about this for the rest of his life, probably. We know it starts with the guards. It's obviously harder for them to win if Donovan Mitchell and James Harden are not playing well. But we also saw in Game 7 other guys stepping up. Jared Allen had a monster game in Game 7. Max Strus chipped in. Sam Merrill had some points. A lot of these guys are chipping in, and if they can get some bench production, that's going to be huge for them. But yeah, a guy like Evan Mobley has definitely flipped a switch. His second half of this series has been great. Jared Allen's been pretty consistent defensively and offensively. Dean Wade plays the defense on Cade Cunningham. I'm not sure if he's fully healthy in this thing. He looked like he got a little hobbled in there. But yeah, this could be a good game overall. It just, which Cavs team's going to show up, because I do think Detroit's going to bring the energy. But let's get into Props Madness, start talking about some plays here. And we'll start with Cade Cunningham. I'll kind of talk through all of these players, and then, of course, the official video picks will be at the end of this thing. But Cade, we know the volume's typically going to be there. He did not need to do much in the second half of that thing just because of how much energy and how well everyone else is playing. But in a Game 7, this 26.5 points line, this has been here for a long time. So I would consider the over. I'm not taking the under on Cade. He might need to have some heroics if some of these guys aren't playing as well. The shots aren't falling for everyone here. But yeah, Cade should be the head honcho here. He sets the tone. He's the main guy. And he's shown in this series that he can at least get a lot of shots up, 27 attempts in 2 of these games, and he's already had a 39-point game. He hasn't particularly had an amazing scoring series like we saw in the Magic series, but he also had a perfect matchup in that series to do pretty much everything in terms of scoring the ball. Assists are also interesting. They're at 8.5. It's almost playable, but in a Game 7, things really tighten up. I'm sure defense of schemes will change up, and it might be a little harder for other guys to get going. And they might be like, hey, everyone else beat us in that last game, especially in the second half. We need to really focus in on playing one-on-one defense, and we can let Cade cook a little bit. I think that would probably be the message that the coach gives them for the Cavs defense. But time will tell, and Cade's done pretty well in assisting in terms of this entire series. So I'd probably lean the points. The shots have kind of been there too the last few games, 10 and 10 threes. So it's always interesting. Can he get his shot to fall? And he's had 2 threes in all of these games. So can you get that third to fall? It's another thing that I'm definitely looking at, especially at the price at plus 130. You're getting plus, good plus money on this line because the shots have been there and he just needs to knock them down. And that was kind of true with the last series too. Like he's getting the 3-point opportunities. If everyone else is getting this one-on-one coverage, sometimes he needs to shoot that 3. And we've seen him knock them down the last few games, which has been great for them. Moving down the line here, Tobias Harris was the most consistent player on this team. Has had a couple duds here in the last few games just because, again, other guys have stepped up. His shooting averages have kind of fallen off in the last few games, 35, 32%, and then just didn't get a ton of volume and didn't play a bunch of time in that last game. And we've really seen Dennis Jenkins come alive. But yeah, Tobias Harris, probably not a dude that I'm running to take the over on. I could see him having a decent game, but I could also see other guys stepping up once again. The rebounds are also interesting. Like the over rebounds has been great for the entire playoffs. But with Paul Reed playing a little bit more, we know he gobbles up a lot of rebounds. Also, Thompson's crashing the board like crazy. So it's harder to get to Tobias Harris's overs overall. And then the 3-point line, like we're getting decent plus money on this all throughout. But again, that shot, is it going to be there? So Tobias Harris probably a dude that I'm staying away from. Dennis Jenkins has played himself into a lot more time, playing extremely well. Do I trust Dennis Jenkins into Game 7? I don't know. The shots volume has been there, but is he going to play more time than Duncan Robinson? Once again, his lines are much lower, and we could see that. Duncan Robinson only got 20 minutes in that last game, and obviously has an injury tag. So he's another guy that's interesting, but I don't know if I have a great read on him enough to get to him. Duren, I'd like to fade Duren once again. He did have a decent game last time, but is that a fluke? Do we get more Paul Reed? Because Paul Reed's just been so good overall. We could definitely see that once again. So probably staying away from Duren. If anything, I'd lean the under just because, again, are we going to base this off the 115 and 11 or whatever game that he just had in terms of scoring and rebounding? I'm not totally sure. He was great on the defensive end of the ball, and they do need that. And he played 27 minutes, which is about where he's been getting in the last few games. So I don't know if we're getting 35 minutes from Duren. And if he's not going to get that much time in the court, obviously a little bit harder to score, but his lines are extremely low. Then we get to Duncan Robinson, and I know he's got the injury tag. I know he definitely doesn't look fully healthy, only played 20 minutes in that last game. But if this stays close, we know Duncan Robinson at home. I've showed this all throughout the entire playoffs. Look at his scoring, first of all, in the entire thing. Look at the 3-point line. We're getting plus 146 on this line. Absolutely crazy at home. Because if we max this out, just take away playoffs, again, if you're new around here, home games over in 75% of games. Away games over in about 50% of games. So the shots obviously are there for him, and he knocks them down at a pretty good clip, especially at home. So if he's going to get 7 shots, he only played 20 minutes, but he still shot 7 threes. We know Duncan Robinson, pretty good shooter overall. So if they're playing that one-on-one coverage and we think Cade's going to cook, maybe a little bit harder, but Duncan Robinson usually good for getting 7 threes up. And if he gets 7 threes up, we're looking pretty good over the course of this entire season. Oscar Thompson, another dude that I'm very much looking at. 10.5 rebounds, assists. This dude is an energizer bunny. If you're a DFS player, if you play PrizePicks or anything like that, something like a fantasy score, because blocks and steals are so big for him. But the rebounds and assists, I think, make the most sense. I don't trust Oscar Thompson to score. Even that big game last time, only 10 points, 6 shots. But I really like the energizer part of this. We went to this in a few of these games in the last series. We had some monster ones. But can he get it done here on the home floor? I do think so. Now the assists a little bit more scary. He did have 4 assists in that last game. They've been pretty consistent. But the rebounds that's essentially just a hustle prop. And from what I saw last game, how much Oscar Thompson loves basketball, I think he does go out there and at least, gives his biggest effort he can. And that's what we saw last game, 9 boards in that thing, 11 rebound chances. He was grabbing everything he could. And it's something I'm definitely considering. So Oscar Thompson's rebounds, assists, both those I think are pretty solid plays. And then we get to Paul Reed again, because we played him last time. He absolutely dominated this thing. The rebounds are at 4.5. The points are at 7.5, 8.5. His lines are getting higher, but he also played a little bit more, 16 minutes. If he's going to get, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if Paul Reed gets that much time on the court, which again is not that much, 15 plus minutes, now he's over this in 71% of games. You do like the PRA, 85% hit rate going over this 14.5 line. So I do think that he played well enough in that last game to continue to get at least 16 minutes, maybe even more if this thing stays close. And I think Paul Reed has played himself in a lot more time. Can I trust him in Game 7? I mean, he trusted him in Game 6, and he came through for us. So I wouldn't know, why not go to this once again? Because the time's going to be there for him. Is he going to get 34 minutes? Is he going to? No, probably not. But can he get like 22 minutes? Potentially. 15, 22 minutes, 77% hit rate. And he's gone over in both the games, crushing this line in the last two, that he got that much time in this Cavs series. Now let's move to the Cavs side of things, and I'm looking at Donovan Mitchell, and again, I've mentioned it. He looks almost tired, fatigued, injured, or something like that. Obviously, he's had some monster games here, but I'm not looking at the points. I'm honestly looking at the rebounds. The assists, like what's going on with his playmaking? How is he? 3 assists, 4 assists max. It's kind of crazy for Donovan Mitchell. But I do like the upside in the boards. 4.5 rebounds. We can get decent price in this plus 100 on BetMGM right now. And that's been the consistent floor. 4 has been the consistent floor. He's had some bigger rebounding games, but it's really like the last few games in terms of the rebound chances. 10 rebound chances on 4.5 line. Just needs to convert on 50%. That makes sense. In a game that's, maybe sees a lot of defensive pressure, I'm not sure if Donovan Mitchell's going to have that monster game. He totally could, but he's had some duds. And again, if he's going to look tired like that, shots not falling for him, it's going to be harder for me to get to the over on points. But the rebounds, again, a hustle stat, Game 7. This is a dude that loves basketball, obviously, and wants to step up and win a Game 7, get to the conference finals, I believe, maybe for the first time in his career, and get over that hump. And I think the rebounds is the best play. It has the highest floor. The ceiling is higher, too, for sure. And again, sometimes that makes for a good play overall. He's got over this in a decent amount of these games. The rebound chances have been there. And I do think he can step up here, grab some boards at least if his shot's not falling, affect the game in some other ways. So I do like the rebounds actually for Donovan Mitchell, interestingly enough. The points for James Harden is what I'm looking at. Consistently he's gone over this in this series. Did have one dud in a game 3 of 13, but the shot volume has been pretty consistent. If Donovan Mitchell's going to get all that defensive pressure, if his shot's not falling, someone needs to step up, and it has been James Harden. Can he hold on to the ball? That'd be a good thing for once. And Game 7 for James Harden is never a good thing, but you have to look at it over the course of this series. That he's just not a dude you typically go to in a Game 7. But can he finally get it done? Can he get to that conference finals? It's to be told. We're going to see it tonight. But 18.5, I do like the over. He hasn't had amazing games in some of these, but he continues to go over the line. So can he have a decent shooting night consistently? Looks like he can, and I do like the points for James Harden in a Game 7, which does sound weird. Evan Mobley, another dude that I'm considering taking the over, but 15.5, and it's juiced or favored on the over. If this was not as juiced, if this was plus money in the 15.5, I'd probably be looking at it because he does seem to be pretty consistently right around this line. And in terms of the games that he's, Duren's going to be out there. If Duren's not out there, it's going to be Paul Reed. If it's going to be Paul Reed, Tobias Harris, those kind of guys, he does have a better matchup, and that's kind of when we went to him in the last game. So if we see more Paul Reed, that makes sense to go to a guy like Evan Mobley once again. But 15.5, now it's juiced on the over. Not sure if I fully get there, but it is the way that I'm leaning. And then the assists continue to be pretty good for him. And now it's down to 3.5. Definitely decently playable. So then you could look at like a points assist, 19.5, minus 108, minus 105. Pretty good price tag there. I'm definitely not considering the unders on Mobley. If I leaned one way, it'd probably be the overs on a guy like Mobley. Jared Allen, kind of same thing, 11.5 line. That's kind of where it consistently has been at. I don't love his matchup as much if Duren plays less time, but Duren looks like he's pretty much locked into 25 to 28 minutes or so. So Allen should be able to consistently get there. 6 shots in the last game. They get to the free throw line, kind of crept over this line, but again, he was big in Game 7 of their last series. Maybe that's the game plan here, and Jared Allen can get some easy ones. He's also someone I'm looking at. So there's a lot of guys that I'm liking the overs. It's just who are you going to pick, or you got to pick the right guy. Max Strus, another guy that had a decent game in that Game 7. His line's 8.5. but he can have duds. We know that he can disappear 2 of 7 from 3. Game before that, 6 of 8 from 3. Game before that, 1 of 6 from 3. So which kind of Max Strus are we going to get? Typically, he is better in away games. He's had some of those bigger games in away games than in home games. But I mean, it's hard to trust a guy that can kind of disappear or have this big game. So the way to play Max Strus, like I've always said, typically I'm laddering this up 15.5 points or 14.5 points or something, or you're taking the under on his normal line. Then you got the other guys, and like typically, these aren't massive players, but Sam Merrill has been pretty big for them. I mean, he came in, knocked down 2 threes, had 10 points in that last game, only played 20 minutes, and that's around where he's going to get. And the 6.5 line, you might as well just look at the 3-point line for plus money. Typically, if he's going to get over that 6.5 line, he's knocking down 2 threes. So it's something I'm considering. Again, on the road here is a little bit harder to get to. But Sam Merrill has been playing himself into a little bit more time, consistently getting around 20 or so minutes in the last few games, but also tighten rotations come in Game 7 sometimes. So are we going to see that much time from Sam Merrill? Time will tell that. And then Dennis Schroeder, I mean, he's a dude that's been getting heavy minutes in some of the games. I mean, Game 7 last series, 14 minutes, but then he had that one big game where he had like 11 points in the fourth quarter or something. In this game, did they fully trust him? I'm not sure, but he is like that veteran status. Maybe he'd be nice to have in a Game 7 to kind of rely on, but he's not a dude that I'm fully, trying to get to. And then Deed Wade, if his line was 2.5, I actually played this the other day at 2.5, but at 3.5, I mean, he's usually good for a 3 and some defensive plays, but other than that, nothing too crazy. So again, wishy-washy on a lot of these guys, but want to give you guys my leans and thoughts on most of them. I do like the overs on a lot of guys. Maybe not Donovan Mitchell for scoring, but I like his rebound chances. And then like James Harden, I know it's hard to get to James Harden in Game 7, but I do like his scoring potential. And if you don't like either of those guards, go to Evan Mobley, go to Jared Allen, go to Max Strus, look at Sam Merrill. They're going to be, pivotal in terms of winning this game overall. And then I talked about James Harden's points, but I do want to point out his rebounds as well. If he's going to get this much time in the court, playing with all these guys on the court, he definitely has a higher ceiling as well. He's got a low floor for sure. He can disappear in the rebounds, but typically in Game 7s, I was just looking it up, and I mentioned, remember, hey, going to James Harden scoring in Game 7 is kind of hard. I mean, his last few Game 7s has not been great, but he does consistently chip in on the boards, especially in the latter half of his career. So if he's going to be out there, that makes sense for him to get some boards. I know it'd be weird to go to Mitchell's boards and James Harden's boards, but I'll probably play him, especially at the price. I think we're getting plus 100, BetMGM. So I think it's both playable. So the way I'm playing the Pistons is like, hey, a couple guys need to score. Cade needs to score. We know guys like Duncan Robinson need to step up. Can the whole team step up again? Maybe, but in a Game 7, I don't know. And then for the Cavs side of things, it's like, hey, are we going to get a Game 7 like last time where Donovan Mitchell, James Harden weren't like the main head honchos? It was really all these other guys stepping up. Or are we going to get a Donovan Mitchell superhero kind of game, or James Harden, finally has a good 30-point game or something in a Game 7? It's definitely harder to read what we're going to get that direction. So I don't even know if I'm going to get to a points line for the official video picks for any of these guys. But let's hop into that recap right now. But if you made it this far in the video and you liked it, go ahead and like the video. Comment something down below. Give us some good luck. It really does tell YouTube to push it out a little bit more, so I appreciate anyone that does that. And of course, if you've made it this far and you're not subscribed, definitely consider subscribing. We're going to be continuing to do this all throughout the playoffs, and then we'll be switching up to baseball or WNBA once this thing is done. But let's get into the recap. And I try to get as many official video picks for you guys as possible. They're all going to be 0.5 unit plays. We've been doing that the last few days because these lines get really tight. But we'll start with Cade Cunningham going to his points. I do think you can go to his threes for some plus money, but I'll just rely on the points because I know he can get there without the threes anyway. Duncan Robinson, his lines are moving the wrong direction. Maybe he's injured more than I think. Maybe he's not going to play in this game or something. But 8.5, that's just 3 threes. And if you want to run the 3 threes, that's fine. But I mean, it's like 92% of home games when he plays 18 to 28 minutes, which what he should get today was what I would expect. So I'm running with that. Just the hit rate's insane, and Duncan Robinson continues to step up, and he's much better at home. Oscar Thompson, rebounds, assists. I'm playing it for the 10.5 plus 100 here. We're getting a lot of plus money plays as well in here, which is good to see. It's just a hustle play kind of thing. Can the assists come? Sure, they're playing at home. And will the rebounds be there? I think he had 9 rebounds alone in the last game. So I think Oscar Thompson continues to be that energizer guy. Same thing with Paul Reed, 13.5 PRA. He's played himself into more time. Doesn't need that much time anyway to get over this line. But he is a great matchup, and he's definitely shown some problems for this Cavs team when Paul Reed's on the floor a little bit more. Then we get to the Cavs side of things, and I don't have a points line for these guys right now. I don't know which one to point to. Is it going to be Donovan Mitchell? Is it going to be James Harden? Is it going to be Mobley? Is it going to be Strus 20 points? Jared Allen had a big Game 7 in the last series. So I'm just going with the rebounds. I think both these guys play with some effort today. 4.5 boards for both of them. I'm going for plus 100. If one of them hits, we break even. If both of them hit, I think they both can. And then Evan Mobley assists 3.5. I think that makes sense too. He's got a perfect matchup to do what he's been doing against the Pistons all throughout. Paul Reed makes it a little bit easier for him to score the ball. But Duren, I don't think they're going away from him. I think Duren's still probably going to get 25, 27, 28 minutes in this thing. And Mobley continues to be able to get the decent amount of potential assists. He moves the ball well, especially in this matchup. And taking a look at who's assisting throughout this playoffs, it's nice to see it's kind of a spread of a lot of different players. 12, 10, 10, 6 assists to Mitchell, Allen, Strus, Harden. So whichever one of those guys is scoring the ball, whether it's threes or at the rim or pick and roll or handoffs or anything like that, he's been getting assists to a decent amount of players, which is good to see, especially because hey, I'm not trying to pick a Cav of who's going to be the hero today. But yeah, that's what I'm running with. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, sorry I couldn't get to a points line, but give you guys my thoughts on most of these players. So hopefully some of my leans help you guys out too. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, which should be a fun one. We saw the Spurs and the Thunder go at it all throughout the regular season, and definitely pumped to watch that game and try to get some good plays and good calls in that thing. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. Sorry it's coming out a little bit later than usual, but better late than never. I'll see you guys next one. Good luck. Peace out.